Hello, Watem here, and welcome back to some more Higurashi When They Cry. Let's see how this ends up. He must have been feeling deceived. No wonder. I just confessed that I wasn't Mion, but her twin sister. I really had been deceiving him.
怒ってます？
なんで？
騙してて。
Satoshi-kun started laughing. I didn't know why he'd laugh, because he wasn't the type of person who would laugh in order to hide something.
たまに教室のミオンと話が食い合わないことがあったから違和感は感じてたんだ。やっとわかったよ。
怒らないでくれるんですか？騙してたこと。
Satoshi-kun looked puzzled. It was like he didn't know whether he should be upset about it or not. Or maybe he was only pretending to be that way.
はじめまして。じゃないんだよね。
はい、そうなります。
そっか。シオンってどう書くの？
詩を読むの詩に音でシオンです。
シオン。ん？いい名前だね。
No.
じゃあお二人さん、すみませんが署まで粉末でよければコーヒーか紅茶かくらいは選べますよ。
End of a chapter, I'm guessing? We'll see. If it was, I was very close to it. I probably could have finished it last episode, but oh well. Yep. Notebook page 29. Either Satoshi-kun was smart, or very lucky. Or maybe it wasn't him. The police found nothing at the crime scene to indicate his involvement in the murder. Yet Satoshi-kun was still the prime suspect. Considering his home environment, he had a strong enough motive. He had no alibi. The police had everything other than physical evidence. It wasn't surprising that Oishi took the chance. He probably didn't expect me to step in, but what I did was too little to avert his suspicion of Satoshi-kun. Oishi believed that Satoshi-kun did it. He was waiting for Satoshi-kun to fall apart and confess. That's what both Oishi and I were thinking. That hypothesis was destroyed later on. I'll not talk about it now, but Oishi's theory will be disproven, and the police will be thrown into shock. A question comes to mind. That is, who saved Satoshi-kun? I can only think of the possibility that the Sonozaki family invented the culprit. Oh yeah, like the drugged guy. Bum 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 bum. Dun da da dun dun da 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 da. Continuing on, the cops were smart enough to separate us during questioning. Oishi didn't come to talk to me. His aim was Satoshi-kun and nobody else. I got a young cop who just talked about ordinary things. He must have been trying to ease me into the interrogation. When I realized that, the clumsy way he spoke began to frustrate me. Is Satoshi-kun alright? I didn't think Oishi really bought my testimony. He must have been trying to get Satoshi-kun to confess in spite of that. All I could do was pray that he'd keep quiet. The phone on the desk rang, and the cop picked it up.
はい、熊谷です。はい？ああ、そうですか。わかりました。すぐに。
He hung up and told me somebody had come to retrieve me. Looked like Satoshi-kun had to stay. Were they going to continue the interrogation just because he had nobody to pick him up? Although, maybe I should have been worrying more about myself. The hag had probably heard about me by now, since I revealed my real identity to the police. I couldn't hide any longer. I was going to receive some sort of punishment. I had no idea what she'd end up doing to me. It's Kasai, probably, rather than her. The degree of punishment for a traitor is always severe in the world of Sonozakis. Punishment must be carried out. If it's to protect the family's reputation, it's carried out no matter what. Maybe I should kiss my pinky finger while I still can. I asked the young cop just in case.
ねえねえ、アメリカなんかでよく死刑囚が死刑廃止の州で捕まると引き渡さないでくれるっていう話あるじゃないですか。
ん
Maybe it was too difficult for him. He just looked puzzled. A few men from my dad. Oh, I forgot to read that. A glossy black car was waiting for me in front of the police station. A few men from my dad's office bowed to me.
シオンさん、ご無沙汰しております。
ダサいわ。
Because I had been helping me ever since my escape from the school. They wouldn't allow him to walk free.
お姉はどうしてるの？何か言ってる？
私たちはシオンさんを本家へお連れしろとしか言われていませんので、
詳
詳しくは本家でお尋ねになってください。
After saying that, he escorted me into the car. The man sat on either side of me. Obviously, they didn't want me to escape. Thinking of Satoshi-kun, I looked back at the police station. Hold on tight, Satoshi-kun. I'll grin and bear it too. The car started off roughly. It was never a good occasion when I went to this house. Except when Mion and I were really small, oblivious of what the Sonozaki name meant for us. I had been here only when I had to attend boring family councils. The car parked behind the house. Traitors aren't allowed in through the main gate. I got out of the car. It looked like Sis would be the only person to receive me. I almost spoke to her casually, but her cold gaze froze me before I could.
お久しぶりですね、シオン。新年以外に会えるとは思いませんでした。
It gave me the chills to hear her greet me in that cold manner.
ミヨン姉様こそ、ご機嫌うるわしゅうございます。新年以外にお顔が見れて、3問くらいの得を感じます。
I responded, trying to sound likewise.
当主は大変ご立腹ですよ。どう釈明されるか見ものです。私がするような釈明なんて別にないですし。
I had no excuse. I'd escaped from school solely because I couldn't stand it there. That was all.
シオン、来なさい。皆待っています。
Mion escorted me, and the others followed. We went to the garden, not into the house. As we passed through the huge yard into the woods, I realized where she was taking me. Ooh, when we were little, we were told never to go near these woods. I had a vague idea of what was in the back of them. I'd heard there was a hidden entrance to the underground torture room, where they used to punish the enemies of the family. The more hideous rumors I heard about the family, the more credible those rumors seemed. Well, I wasn't completely certain about any of that. I'd never expected to see the torture room for myself. We came to a concave, clearing in the middle of the woods. I saw a metal door at the bottom of it. The door reminded me of a bomb shelter.
これが噂の地下実験室ってやつですね。
I mean, there's only so much they can do to her while the police are still interested in asking her questions. I was surprised to hear my own voice. My voice was trembling. It made me realize that I was more scared than I thought. Nobody answered my question. The very air felt tense. According to the family rules, one of the twins must be eliminated. Was I finally going to be eliminated? I realized I had been underestimating my punishment. I hadn't been aware of real terror until now. I just thought I was. Beyond the steel door, the air had an intimidating smell. This really was happening to me. I shouldn't allow myself to give in to fear. I felt like saying something rude, but my lips were dry, and my fingers were fidgeting. I was escorted through the narrow hallway, down a few sets of stairs. There, I saw another huge steel door. So this was the place. odd staticky sound in the background there. But yeah, so if back in second chapter it was Shion, this would mean that she actually knew how to get there. Anyway, get into the torture place, if it was. Not saying that it was, but it allows for possibility now. Anyway, it was a spacious and utterly odd-looking room. The room had two sections that looked completely different. One side looked like a lounge. I saw several high-ranking members of the family council sitting on cushions there, looking expressionless. The other half was tiled, as if in a large public bath. That was already puzzling enough. And there were those things. To be honest, they had captured my attention from the moment I arrived. I noticed them even before I saw the lounge and the tiled space. I just didn't want to accept that they existed. I couldn't stand upright straight. I almost dropped to my knees. But I couldn't. 2 young men had been holding me by the arm since I got here. They were oddly shaped things hanging from the wall. I was just refusing to recognize what they were. I knew exactly what they were called. I see. I understood that those eerily shaped objects were torture devices from hell.
だほがどの面下げて戻ってきた思うとっとと
The hag, sitting at the front of the lounge, intimidated me in a horrid voice. She kept cursing me for a while, but she was so incensed that I could barely tell what she was saying. I knew what she was trying to say, though. The hag was willing to forgive my escape from the school, but once I revealed my identity to the police, she had to step in. Since I had disobeyed the family rule, she, as the leader, was forced to punish me. Moreover, there was one thing that bothered her more than anything else. The fact that I covered for Satoshi-kun. The Hojo family had been seen as traitors to the village ever since the dam conflict. Satoshi-kun was still considered one of them. She couldn't accept that I was connected to him. To me, this was a bit unexpected. I'd escaped from the school the hag had put me in. All the while, I believed that was what she was upset about. But in fact, she said she was most uncomfortable with my connection with Satoshi-kun. I couldn't believe this. Of course I knew that Satoshi-kun's family was persecuted for their betrayal, but I didn't think that Satoshi-kun was also burdened with that responsibility.
そんなのサトシ君関係ないじゃないですか。サトシ君の親はわかるとしてもサトシ君個人には何の責任もな。
しゃあらしいわ。
The hag interrupted me with a shout, which made me cower in fear. She continued slandering the Hojos and said that Satoshi-kun was a cursed child. Not Satoko? I started feeling pissed off. What did he do to deserve this? Wait. Actually, with that idea that Shion did the whole Chapter 2 things, that would explain why she called Satoko cursed. Mion wouldn't say that, but Shion would. Huh. What did he do to deserve this? What was he being blamed for? It was too late when I realized I'd said that out loud. The hag looked furious. I'd obviously upset her. I decided to repeat myself, to make it very clear how I felt.
ばあさん、あんた何言ってんの？黙って聞いてれば言いたい放題。
あ
Why are you trying to make her angry?
なんばねすったら口の利き。
やかましい！しまいまで聞きなよ、バカ野郎！
I shouted loudly to silence the hag.
だいたいあんたはサトシ君の何を知ってるの？サトシ君のことをよく知りもしないくせに、まるで彼を害虫みたいに言い捨てて。サトシ君がどんなにいい人か私はよく知っている。彼が北条だからいけないの？ばっかみたい。時代錯誤も甚だしい。園崎の私が北条のサトシ君と一緒にいたのがそんなにも不愉快なの？くったらないくったらないばっかみたい。 いロミジュリを自分で体験できるなんて思わなかったな。
My voice became hoarse from shouting. My face was messy with tears. Even so, I didn't feel like putting a stop to my emotional explosion. I was all too aware that I was just doing this to overwhelm my fear. The hag was glaring at me while breathing heavily. I glared back at her as fiercely as I could. Eventually, I realized that the sticking point was my relationship with Satoshi-kun. She wasn't only upset that I had a mere connection with him.
そっか。ミオンがそういう告げ口をしたわけか。
It was as though Mion was wearing a mask. She didn't budge under my penetrating glare. That was what the hag was really unhappy about. The fact that I was in love with Satoshi-kun.
確かに私、自分が園崎家だとか、サトシ君が北条家だとか、そんなの全然興味ないし、園崎家のメンツがとか、世間体がどうとか、全然関心ありません。認めますよ、認めます。私は北条サトシ君が好きです。彼のことが大好きです。それっていけないこと？人が人を好きになるのに何か理由が必要？
I could see the relatives shaking their heads in turmoil. Among them, I saw my mum. She must have been trying to protect me. But even she wouldn't look at me. Instead, she looked silently at the floor.
後ろのあんたたちも聞こえてるでしょ？私おかしいこと言ってる？あんたたちだってサトシ君をよく知れば、彼がどんなに素敵な男の子で、私が好きになるのがおかしくないことがすぐにわかる。
Yep, so sweet he murdered someone. Yeah.
なのに、なんで相手の人格も知ろうとしないで一方的に。
Mion held out her hand to silence me. Then she slowly walked in my direction.
もう結構です、シオン。あなたの言い分と覚悟はよくわかりました。
Mion put her head close to mine and whispered.
シオンの覚悟はよくわかったよ。でもここまで言い切っちゃったら、誰にももうかばえない。シオンがけじめをつけてみせるしかない。
けじめ？なんで私がなんでそんなバカな。
シオン。
Mion's face turned cold again, and she calmly told me.
あなたの言う個人の理屈は多分正しい。でもね、あなたも理解していると思うけど、ここはひなみ沢で、私たちは園崎家なの。御三家の末席で、そしてあなたは仮にも、園崎家次期当主である園崎美音の双子の妹。それが、
I interrupted her.
あんたとは、こっちに帰ってから、どうもそのあたりの話が食い合わないですね。
Ooh.
大人の事情みたいなことばっか。ひなみ沢？園崎家？だから何？私はそんなの全然興味な。
聞きなさい。
Mion interrupted me, just like I did her.
シオンは今日まで沖宮で生活するにあたって、どれだけの人の世話になってる？
Chills shot through my spine.
葛西さん、奥の牢屋にいる。
なんで葛西が？
I knew why, of course. The moment I got caught, those who helped me were destined to meet the same fate. We were all subject to the punishment of betrayal. Maybe my punishment would be lighter than what they'd be going through. Kasai and Uncle Yoshiro must have been treated much worse than this. Everybody who helped me was falling victim.
シオンがどういう目にあっても、シオン本人は覚悟があるからいいだろうけど、お世話になった葛西さんや吉郎おじさんがどうなるかまでは考えが及ばない？
My head rapidly cooled down. My aggression was all used up. I should be able to bear whatever punishment they'd bring on me. But I resented the fact that I'd be putting the people who supported me at risk.
シオン、ばっちゃんに謝って、けじめをつけてみせれば、シオン一人だけの話で全部済む。誰にも迷惑をかけない。
でもミオン、 私そんなにも悪いことした？
The moment Leon learned that I wasn't willing to apologize, her expression turned cold again. She turned her back to me and returned to the lounge. I had talked back to the hag in a really harsh manner. I told her that I didn't do anything wrong, yet I had involved many people to who I owed so much. It went without saying this was my responsibility. I was the sole person to blame. No fault lay with him. Yet, yes, rather, Kasai and Yoshiro-san were blameless, just as Satoshi-kun was. But then, as if she read my mind, Mion turned around and gave a slight nod. It was possible that something was going to happen to Satoshi-kun, on top of Kasai and Uncle Yoshiro.
待って、お姉！
That can't happen. Satoshi-kun, I mean, nobody else should be punished. Please forgive them.
何ですか、シオン。
Tears rolled down my cheeks. I no longer cared about my pride.
ごめんなさい。私が間違っていました。許してください、当主様。
I should have said what that hag wanted to hear. Yet she still looked unsatisfied. Maybe that wasn't too surprising. I just announced her so badly in front of relatives. She wouldn't forgive me so easily. Just then, Mion spoke as the successor.
ではシオン、どうやってけじめをつけるつもりです？
けじめってどうすれば？
Nothing could be scarier than being told to pay up while standing next to horrid-looking torture devices. I was completely terrified. I couldn't move from trembling. Mion saw that and whispered to our grandmother. The hag nodded. Mion summoned some young minions and gave them an order. They removed one of the torture devices hanging on the wall, then set a table in front of me and put the device on top of it.
何これ？
爪を剥ぐための道具です。
Ooh.
使い方はわかります？
わかるわけないでしょ。
As in no way to the punishment, or she has no way of knowing how to use it. I shook as I stared at the tool. It looked like a giant nail clipper. You probably put the part that looks like a beak between your finger and fingernail, pulling them apart if you squeeze the handle. Ugh. The chills ran up and down my spine when I imagined that.
爪1枚ずつでシオンがかけた迷惑のそれぞれのけじめとします。園崎シオン、どの指でも構いません。自らの手で3枚の爪を剥がしてみせなさい。
Ooh. 3. One for Sai, one for Uncle Yoshiro, and the last for Satoshi-kun. It was a fairly reasonable number.
本当にそれで他の人は許してくれるんですか？約束して。私がちゃんと自分の爪を剥げたら他のみんなは許すと約束して。
これはあなたのけじめであって取引ではありませんよ。この方法が気に入らないなら。やる
から待って。待ってよ。やるから。
I put the device to my little finger while shaking badly. If my fingernail was shorter, it would have been harder. The metal beak captured my little finger beautifully. The subordinates then stabilized my left hand with a different restraining tool. That seemed reasonable, because my finger would slip out if it weren't restrained like that. As the subordinates buckled up the leather straps, I realized that this was really happening, and there was no escape. Somewhere in my mind, I'd been thinking that they might forgive me after just the gesture alone. I shouldn't have been so naive. The emotions I'd been holding back appeared in the form of tears and kept rolling down my cheeks. It was like my feelings were being squeezed out until the very last drip. Something even more horrifying followed this. It was the silence that awaited my next action.
どうするの？
One of the subordinates pointed to the handle and told me to either squeeze it or hit it. He recommended that the latter would be easier, to make it quick. Nobody said anything after that. There was nothing to hear but the sound of my sweat dripping onto the floor. The onlookers were staring at me silently, waiting for me to execute my punishment. Both the hag and Mion. They were also anticipating it. I could refuse. That meant I wouldn't be paying up. The punishment exists to offer payment in exchange for the safety of those who helped me. If I refused, they would suffer. I started breathing heavily. I knew that if I did this, the others would go through. It was, if you thought about it, quite a good deal. If it weren't me, it wouldn't just be 3 fingernails. If it were Kasai, he'd have to sacrifice his little finger, or something even worse. I knew that. It was my selfish desire to get away from that school. Why did Kasai have to suffer because of that? I knew that. Why did Uncle Yoshiro have to suffer just because he provided me with a job? I knew that the hag and the other relatives still hated the Hojos, so I didn't know what they'd do to Satoshi-kun if I didn't do this. Would they bring Satoshi-kun here and tell him to do the same? Would they tell him to remove his fingernails in exchange for forgiving me? He'd do it. He'd sacrifice himself with no hesitation in order to save others. My sweat dribbled onto the table through my nose. I'd do it, yes. It was only 3 fingernails. It might hurt a lot, but I wouldn't die. The fingernails would grow back. It wouldn't even leave a huge scar. I shouldn't be afraid. The punishment was minimal because it was me. If I refused to do this, the others would be punished much more severely. I couldn't let that happen to Kasai, Uncle Yoshiro, or Satoshi-kun. I was the only one who should be punished. So I just needed to bear the pain. I wasn't just breathing heavily anymore. I was also moaning faintly, ready to scream at any moment. That's right, make it quick. This wasn't torture, so I didn't have to prolong the moment of pain. I should do it in one swift blow. That way, my pain and fear would be minimized. I raised my right arm. Quickly. The pain would be lessened if I did it in one stroke. It would be much more painful if I messed it up. I held my breath. Felt as if my body was frozen. I was choking. The chills crept up my spine. Don't be afraid, Shion. Fingernails are just a tiny fraction of the whole body. Just 1 square centimeter. I could do this. I could bear it. I smacked my right hand onto the handle of the device. I sensed the noise through my body instead of through my ears. At the same time, I felt a pain I'd never experienced before. A moment later, the pain pulsated with my heartbeat. I clenched my teeth. I felt like my teeth were cracking. I tightly shut my eyes until my eyeballs got squeezed up. The pain wouldn't fade. Rather, it swelled with my blood pressure. I felt as though it was bloating like a balloon. Timidly, I opened my eyes. I found that my little finger wasn't really drenched in blood. It was bleeding, but not much. Certainly not enough to explain how much it hurt. My fingernail was open just like the hood of a car. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was overwhelming. It occurred to me that I'd only done 1 out of 3. Did I have to repeat this 2 more times? Did I have to remove nails from my ring and middle fingers as well? I looked at the hag and at Mion, begging for mercy. But they were just silently staring at me. as if the show had only just begun. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in comments, and as always, until next time, see ya.